Hi, happy Saturday. Oh, here comes Kanani. She's gonna check out what's going on outside. So I've had a couple of questions as we get ready for tomorrow about boundaries, energetic and intuitive boundaries, because we had a really large group last time, and even with a moderately sized group, it can be really overwhelming to be with a lot of different people, with a lot of energies kind of floating around. And then our bodies are kind of buoyant and floating around in the water, so it's hard to ground and stay present. Um, and kind of stay out of that, when we're sensitive in all the ways that we are in this kind of work. We want to be able to feel comfortable instead of overwhelmed. So I've just quickly jotted down a couple of notes. I'm going to hopefully it'll all make sense, and hopefully it won't be too long. But I want to give you kind of an overview of my perspective around energetic boundaries based on my experience over the last couple of decades as a recipient of body work and energy work, as well as a practitioner. And this is one of the areas that has become a passion of mine because people are so uncomfortable, whether they're receiving from another practitioner or they are the practitioner. It's so easy for us to get kind of blended and caught up in all the different things that are happening around us on the subtle level. But it doesn't have to take us out, and it doesn't have to make us sick, and it doesn't have to scare us and all those things. So this is just, like I said, a quick overview just from just a couple of minutes of brainstorming. Feel free to ask more questions. I'm happy to talk more about it. Like I said, it's kind of a soapbox, actually, of mine. It's really important to me because I want to feel safe in both directions. So for me, what it comes down to is attention and focus. I know a lot of people in the spiritual arena will talk about using kind of bubbles or eggs of light around them as a protection, or that we even need protection. And I've tried all that, and it doesn't work for me. And one of the reasons it doesn't work for me is that I feel like I'm coming from a place of fear if I feel like I need to be protected. So it works better for me to be in a place of centeredness and grounded and trust and faith in myself and in the energy that I'm working with, that I'm going to be okay. And the people that I work with are okay. And that we can come away from the experience together both feeling good. And that we have tools to rebalance ourselves if things get a little bit more wacky. But fear is destabilizing, and it's going to, I guess I just imagine, if you're somebody who's super sensitive and you're walking toward this crowd of people, suddenly you start worrying about what that's going to feel like. And that right there is going to be very stabilizing. So for me, it comes back to attention and focus. Where is my attention? Where is my focus? And what is my intention for what I'm doing, either as a recipient or as a practitioner? So here's an example, and I talk about this all the time, and to me, it seems really simple, and I forget sometimes that people still kind of keep their attention far beyond themselves and still pick up, kind of tune into lots of different things rather than just keeping it really simple and clearly focused. So I was working with a coaching client on kind of strengthening intuition, getting centered within herself. And one of the things we were doing in order to practice this was walking through the cemetery. It wasn't creepy. It was really cool. I don't like ghosts. I don't do that. I choose not to because it freaks me out. But I really like, so I had this experience of being drawn to the cemetery. I was living in the avenues. This quick story. I was living in the avenues. I was going through some classes and study of metaphysical and spiritual things. And I started on my walks through the avenues to feel guided to go to the cemetery. It was a very cool experience. Happened all summer long. I walked through the cemetery, allowing myself to be guided to the grave sites that were calling for Reiki. And that's all I did. But I was skeptical, and I thought, I'm just making this up, because I would feel energy, I might see some stories playing out in my mind, feel like, people were grieving or whatever. And I thought, I think I'm just making this up. So I decided to, consciously, from my conscious, rational mind, walk to that headstone over there and then try it. And then I went over to that one over there. And then I again allowed myself to intuitively be guided to a spot. And every time I did it intuitively, I had experiences, and they were all positive, they were all safe. But when I intentionally went to different grave sites, it wasn't the same. So I came to trust that I can just tune in. Where am I needed right now? I don't want any other information. Just lead me to where I'm needed. I'm going to just offer some Reiki. I'm just the conduit here. And then I move on to the next one. So I did this with this client. I gave her those instructions. Just go to where you're guided. But she stopped and she's like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. They're all talking to me and they're all coming to me. I'm like, oh, wait. Okay, you need to set a clear boundary and a clear intention for yourself. You're so used to having this expanded awareness that focusing is a new and different experience, and it's a skill that we can develop. So I said to her, just say to yourself and say to the energies, I'm not interested in anything else. The only thing I want is guidance toward the one spot where I need to be right now to be able to offer Reiki. And then I want to be guided to the next one. So it's kind of like walking into a crowded room, and instead of looking around or having everybody bombard you, somebody walks up to you and says, hey, come this way. And you walk with that person, and you're kind of aware that other people are around, but you've got to focus and you're just following that one person.